This is in response to the video called Ron Paul Don't Believe Everything on TV. I do agree with most of your points that you mentioned there, but there was something that struck a chord in my brain that I can't quite wrap around my head. Um, Particularly when you said that people would tell you who wants to vote for Ron Paul. He's not going to win. He wouldn't win. And this phrase is what makes me think a lot of Americans consider the presidential race a lot to be like a horse race or a cockfight. In those kinds of events, you look at the healthiest specimen, or depending on the case, the biggest rooster, what have you, and then you decide who you think is going to win, and then you cast your lot. You put in your money. The thing is that the elections aren't that kind of race. Sure, somewhat of a popularity contest exists, but when it all comes down to you going into the voting booth, you're by yourself. You're there to make your own decision and submit your vote. The term "who is going to win" should not be the most important or the most foremost thought in your brain. I mean, what I'm wondering is, why is it like this? Is it because the American Joe just wants to be able to say, "Yep, see, I voted for her," or somewhere down the line maybe say, "See, you should have voted like everyone else," when the new president makes a mistake? I mean, you're kind of kissing away your vote if you just want to vote with everybody else. I mean, I guess the word sheeple is kind of, uh, it's not a very well connotated word, but it is pretty accurate if people are just going to follow the masses. I mean, sure, there's a saying, lead, follower, get out of the way, but if you know something wrong is going on with your country, if you know that there's things that need to be fixed, and they're not being fixed with the type of promises and words that are coming out of everybody else's mouth, you should vote for the person that speaks out to what you feel is true. I support Ron Paul, but I'm Canadian. I can't even vote. But when I hear all of these kinds of things, I think, well, I'm pretty convinced that our country is very similar to yours, and if I voted for a prime minister in my country because everybody else was voting for them, then, well, Quebec wouldn't be part of the country anymore, because enough people decided that they wanted to separate Quebec from Canada, and they were about as close to majority as possible, and that's all we heard for the longest time. And well, if I had voted like that, then we'd be almost a third less of a country. So you need to consider, when you're sitting in that voting booth, should you really vote for the person that everybody else is voting for? What if they're wrong? Maybe they are wrong, but just being able to say that you voted like everybody else, or that you voted because you thought that so and so was going to win, rather than out of their actual credit, out of their merit, out of their track record, you might as well just stay home and watch Survivor. Bet your money on that, because you're not going to win a vote just because you followed everybody else. In fact, the way that I'm seeing this candidacy right now, if somebody votes for a candidate because everybody else is, and not based on anything that they've seen or heard from that candidate, why did they go out and vote? I don't get it.